This lesson covers the execution flow of a C program. We will discuss the different steps involved in program execution, that is, pre-processing, compiling, and linking. We will also discuss what is a source file, what is an object file, and what is an executable file. So let's get started. Let us first discuss what is a source file. You can use an editor to type a program and save it with .c extension. The version of the program typed by you using an editor is called the source file. The source file contains your program's source code. The very next step is pre-processing. In the pre-processing step, the header files, if any, are combined with the program's source code by the preprocessor before the program gets compiled. Thus, pre-processing takes place even before the source code goes to the compiler. The result of pre-processing is that the source file gets expanded. So once you are done with the pre-processing step, you get an expanded source file. The next step is compiling. The program written by you is only understandable to you but not to the computer because the computer's microprocessor only understands machine language code. In order for the source code written by you to be understood by the computer, you need another program known as the compiler. The compiler takes the source file containing the source code typed by you and converts it into an intermediary machine language file called object file. The object file generated by the compiler has the extension .o or .obj depending upon the IDE that you are using. For example, in the CodeBlocks IDE, the object files generated by the compiler have the extension .o. And if you are using Turbo C++ IDE, the object files generated by the compiler in Turbo C++ IDE have the extension .obj. The next step is linking. The story doesn't end with compiling alone because the object file generated by the compiler cannot be executed to run the program. Linking is essential owing to a myriad of reasons. Firstly, your program needs to be combined with various library routines. The library routines are the functions that perform tasks such as input and output. Another reason for linking the program is that in some situations, compiling the whole program is not needed. For instance, a multi-file C program may comprise of many files, and some of those files may have already been compiled. The linker puts together all the intermediate object files to generate a final executable file. The executable file, also called binary file, runs directly just as any other application program. Executable file is the machine-level file which is directly executed by the computer's microprocessor. You can double-click the executable file icon to execute the program code. A program is nothing but a series of instructions. The executable file generated by the linker has the extension .exe. Let us now try to understand the execution flow of a C program with the help of a diagram. Suppose we have typed a program myprogram.c and this is the source file of the program. The header file that we have included in our program is stdio.h. The preprocessor combines the header file stdio.h with the source file myprogram.c, and as a result of this preprocessing, you get an expanded source file myprogram.c. This expanded source file myprogram.c is the source file with header file included. This expanded source file myprogram.c then goes to the compiler, and the compiler then converts it into an intermediary machine level file myprogram.o or myprogram.obj depending upon the IDE that you are using. myprogram.o or myprogram.obj is the object file. If it is a multi-file C program, it will have multiple object files. The linker puts together all the object files and links it with the library files to generate a final executable file. Now let's open the Code Blocks IDE. Click File to open the file menu, then click New, and under New click Project. Then double click the console application, then click Next, and then make a selection. Since it's a C project, so we'll select C. Then click Next. Now type the title of the project. Let's say the title of the project is Test App, because we want to create a test application, and folder to create project in the folder is the E drive. Okay, so we'll save this project in the E drive. Click Next and then click Finish. Now as you can see, this project has already created a source file main.c by default, so we can simply right click on it and then remove file from project. Okay, now let's select this project and go to File, then click New and click Empty File. Okay, it says, do you want to add this new file in the active project? Has to be saved first. We'll click Yes. Okay, and now let's type the name of our file. Let's call the name of our file is myprog. Okay, and it's a C file, so it will be saved with .c extension. We click Save, then click OK. Now as you can see that under the sources folder we have our own source file, okay, myproc.c. After selecting myproc.c source file, let's type the program. We'll start off by including the header file, and so we'll write #include stdio.h inside angular brackets, and then we'll write int main and then parenthesis, and inside parenthesis you can write void, and it's up to you as to whether you want to write void or not because it's optional. And then we will have the pair of braces. Now let's say we want to print this message, learn C programming. So we'll write a printf statement and then type learn C programming inside double quotes, and then end this statement with a semicolon. Then we will write return 0 followed by semicolon. Now let's build this project by clicking the yellow gear icon at the upper left corner. As we discussed earlier, that the build process covers compiling, linking and creation of the executable file. So all these three steps, that is compiling, linking and creation of the executable file, are covered in this build process, okay? Now let me click this yellow gear icon to build this project and see if object file and the executable file has been generated or not, okay? Let me click gear icon. Now as you can see that this project has been built successfully. We can now open the E drive where we saved our project. The name of the project that we created is test app. Let us now double click the test app project folder to view the source file, object file and the executable file. The source file in this case is myproc.c. This is the version of the program that we typed, okay? We have two more folders inside the test app project folder. The obj folder that contains the object file or multiple object files. Then we have this bin folder that contains the executable file. Let us now double click the obj folder. Now inside the obj folder we have this debug folder. Let's double click the debug folder. And inside the debug folder we have the object file. Now as you can see, this object file has the same name as the source file. However, the source file has the extension .c, whereas this object file has the extension .o. If you are using the Turbo C++ IDE, the object file will have the extension .obj, okay? Now let's double click the bin folder. Then we have this debug folder inside the bin folder. Now let's double click the debug folder. Inside the debug folder we have this executable file. Now this executable file has the same name as the project name, okay? So the name of the project was test app and the name of this executable file is also test app. Let us single click on this test app executable file to select it. Then we can right click on it to open this menu. Then click properties and this will open the properties dialog box. Now as you can see, this properties dialog box tells us that the name of the project is test app and it has the extension .exe because it is an executable file, okay? Now we can run this executable file in two ways. We can run it directly from the code blocks IDE, or we can simply double click on it in order to run this project. Okay. Now to run this executable file directly from the code blocks IDE, let's go back to the code blocks IDE and then click this run icon just next to the yellow gear icon uh, on the upper left corner. Okay. Now if I hover my mouse over this green right facing arrow, you can see that it shows you that the name of this icon is run. Okay, so let me click this run icon and it shows you the output of your program. Now it waits for you to press any key in order to terminate this program. So let me press any key. Let's say I press enter and this terminates the program. Now let's suppose we want to run this program from outside the code blocks IDE. To do this, we can simply double click the executable file of our program. The executable file of our program is testapp.exe. So let me now double click testapp.exe executable file to see if anything happens. Now as you can see, I double clicked this testapp.exe executable file, but the output screen did not show up. Okay, this is because when you double click the executable file to run your program from outside the code blocks IDE, the program will open and it will execute, but it will terminate the moment the end of the main function is reached, and the output screen will not wait for you to type any key from the keyboard. Okay, so this happens so quickly that you are not even able to see the output. Okay, so if you want that the output screen should ask you to type any key from the keyboard, and the output screen should stay unless any key is typed from the keyboard, you need to make a change to your program. Okay, now let us make some changes to the program so that when we double click the executable file, that is testapp.exe, the output screen should stay until any key is typed from the keyboard, and the program should not terminate unless you type any key from the keyboard. Okay, so the program should wait for you to type any key from the keyboard. Okay, to make the changes, simply open up your code blocks IDE and type this function get ch, which is an abbreviation for get character. Okay, and this function will simply wait for you to type any key from the keyboard, and the output screen will stay until the key is typed. Okay, now let's build this program again by clicking this yellow gear icon. Now as you can see, it is giving us a warning, implicit declaration of the function getch. Okay, so we need to add the header file conio.h. So we'll write hash include conio.h, and now let's first clear the contents of this build log window and again build this program. Now as you can see, there are no errors and there are no warnings. Okay, now after making these changes, when we double click the test app executable file, this will bring up the output screen in front of us, and this output screen window will not disappear until we type any key from the keyboard. Okay, so until any key is typed from the keyboard, the output screen will stay and the program will not terminate until any key is pressed from the keyboard, unlike the first scenario in which the program terminated immediately when the end of the main function was reached. Okay, now Once I press any key from the keyboard, let's say I press the enter key, the program will now terminate and the output screen will disappear. Okay. Let us now summarize what we have discussed so far using a text editor that comes with the CodeBlocks IDE. You type your program and the version of program that you type is known as the source file. Okay, and this source file has the extension .c. Next comes the preprocessor. The preprocessor combines the source file with the header files, and as a result of this you get an expanded or preprocessed source file, and this expanded or preprocessed source file has the extension .c. Now next comes the compiler. The compiler then converts this expanded source file into an intermediary machine level file known as the object file, and if it's a multi-file program, there can be multiple object files. Okay, the object file has the extension .o or .obj depending upon the IDE that you are using. Next comes the linker. The linker links the object file or multiple object files with the library file and then generates a single executable file. Okay, the executable file has the extension .exe. In a nutshell, we can say that the source file produced by the editor with .c extension goes to the preprocessor, which combines the source file with header files, and as a result of this you get an expanded source file. The expanded source file goes to the compiler, which generates an intermediate object file or files with .o or .obj extension, and this object file or several object files are linked together by the linker and combined with library routines to generate a final executable file with .exe extension. I hope you found this lesson extremely useful. See you in the next lesson.